right a great wrong, then we could save her. We could save your mother, boy.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm not so bad. Absolute pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
So, what Josiah saw, I went into this blind, completely blind. I was so fortunate in this day and age. I wasn't even aware of the movie. It wasn't on my radar. And the screener dropped into my inbox, and I thought, this sounds interesting. And I put it on, and blew me away in terms of the film as a whole, but performances across the board were fantastic. I thought in a movie of excellent performances, yours was the standout. For me personally, it was the most memorable. So well done for that. And
thank you.
And on the film in general, which is now on release here in the UK on Shudder. So it's this Southern Gothic type of tale of three siblings, and your role and the film as a whole is arguably one of the bleakest that you've appeared in. And I was wondering if that was part of the attraction with the script, to take on something that was so challenging and unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked weird stories, unusual films, for sure. But I was also really fortunate that it came my way because, it kind of dropped out of the blue for me as well, just in being sent the script and I was up in Canada doing something when I got it. I was finishing something else, and Vincent was very persistent and just saw me in the role, and so anytime you get an offer in the film world, it's flattering, but a lot of them aren't very good, to be honest. This So I read this and I was just like, wow, this is if they can pull off this unusual structure and these characters which were amazingly written, if they can pull this off, it's going to be a really unique ride for an audience that I was just telling someone, it has elements and it kind of draws from different great films and filmmakers, I think, and kind of mixes genres. It's a pretty wild ride, and so it was really simple for me when I read it. I was it was kind of a no-brainer that I wanted to do it. And I don't know, darker films and more complex characters like this, they've kind of always come my way since I was a kid, like since I was young, sort of like tortured, flawed people, and I guess maybe I just exude that quality on whatever, but but it had this kind of transgressive quality, in the midst of this dark world. There's these little points of light, that are kind of sad, actually, but there's just this little piece of hope, peeking through these dark stories, and that's always been fascinating from like a storytelling standpoint to me, so it's just, again, I just thought it was pretty remarkable what the writer pulled off, and then ultimately what Vincent did in the execution of it as well. So
people save that property. I swear it's haunted. It's time to let the place go.
What about Paul?
An old bastard just wants revenge. There's something that he's doing. I need to wait till dark to tell you.
I agree, and you know, I'm pleased you picked up on that thread about, you know, being that kind of that little sort of a pinhole of light, because in amidst all of this kind of sort of brutal and deeply unsettling environment, you've got your character Eli, who I've read actually from one reviewer that described him a piece of human flotsam. And you know, he's like a lot of the characters in the movie, it's difficult to kind of root for them, but you have this arc that finds you, you know, doing this sort of really noble act, not obviously wanting to give anything away,
Right.
and it gives you that little bit of hope for that character, and just kind of makes it a little bit easier on the audience, just to a little bit of brevity, you know, that allows you to breathe. And
yeah,
with that character of Eli, he's very complicated, and you know, there's an awful lot going on in his backstory. How did you find your way into the character, or how easy was it to find your way into that and get it fully formed? Did Vincent give you any kind of backstory over and above what was in the script, or was that something you guys sort of workshopped on together?
not really. You know, not so much as far as you know, backstory. I mean, you know, so much of it, as you know, is kind of revealed. Like, so much of his past is kind of revealed as the story goes on. So I was, you know, I was basically going off of that, you know, but you know, Eli, all three of the siblings to me are really products of, you know, this dysfunctional childhood, and you know, the trauma that they've endured, and you know, you know, these characters, I think, are important. I love these like anti-hero characters, you know, because they just reflect life a lot more, you
Yeah,
know. So in the midst of this kind of heightened reality horror, you know, you're like, is this supernatural? But it's really not. It's you know, the inner lives of these characters are just you know, like maladapted to the world, and you know, um I've always you know, I guess just been naturally gravitated toward these types of roles, and you know, ultimately I think that's just a lot more. It reflects life a lot more, you know, that you know, this guy didn't wake up one day and, you know, decide, like, I'm gonna, you know, be a criminal, and, you know, be a hermit, you know, you know, a loner up in the, you know, and just, you know, these are just this is the hand he was dealt, and this is how it plays out for him as an adult. And you know, I would also say that you know, that was another very interesting thing about the script that I really liked, is to see how this trauma that these kids went through plays out in three distinct ways for these roles. So, you know, Mary is handling what happened to her in a very different way than Eli is, but they're equally dysfunctional, you know.
That's the polite way of putting it. Sadly, we're
Yeah.
nearly out of time. I could spend hours talking to you about this. I just wanted to touch very quickly on what you were saying about history and gravitating to these films throughout your career. You worked on Bully with Kelly Garner, I believe. How was it working with her again? Had you seen her since Bully?
I had run into Kelly maybe a couple of times in the last what is it, 20 years now?
Probably 20 years, yeah.
Something like that. Amazing. You know, more or less just cross paths, and it was really cool. It was really cool to kind of reunite as full-fledged adults, you know, and we were, you know, young enough at that time that we were, you know, we were playing adult, but we definitely were not. And she was even younger than me. That was her first film at the time, and you know, we had kind of a crazy experience doing that film. You know, to use the word dysfunction again, you know, that was it was just a bunch of kids smoking a lot of weed and doing, you know, and you know, trying our best to make a movie, and it was pretty chaotic experience, and and in fact, like Kelly, because it was her first film, she told me while we were doing Josiah, she said, I thought that's just how every film set was, you know. I thought they were all crazy like that, you know. So even though we're doing very dark material in this one, it was a much more grounded, professional sort of vibe going on. But I was very impressed with Kelly, the actress that she's turned into. She's a very hard worker, you know. She gives it a lot. Like she really puts a lot of work into what she does, and she's great in the film too. So,
well, thank you, Nick, for your time. Best of luck with the film's release here in the UK. I think it's going to go down amazingly well with the Shudder crowd. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
Take care.
Run, boy. You run far from here.
You can hear that Dell